slow down, we'll walk together. Baby, don't come back. Get to travel. We don't ever slow down. Around the world together. Baby, don't come down. Get to travel.
Hi, welcome to Key to Travel, and I am your girl Key, and today we are doing a story time, and you know your girl love her story time. Travel, I love my story times, y'all. But this story time is not a good story time, y'all. Let me kick back and relax so I can tell y'all. If this is your first time with us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And if you just slid by, saw the title, and decided to click on, welcome. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Now, this story time is unfortunate because if you have been watching my last few videos, you have noticed I have been in Trinidad and Tobago. I have been to Antigua and Barbuda. And yeah, and if you heard in one of those videos, you heard that I got sick. But I'm going to tell you how I got sick or what I got sick from and what you can do to prevent that. So if you want to know all those things, I'm going to tell you this story time, and hopefully it can help you out so it won't happen to you. So y'all stay tuned, and I'm going to go ahead and get into this story time. Okay, guys, let me go ahead and tell you this story time. This story time obviously happened when I was out of the country, and first of all, let's get to the bright parts of this story time, okay? Let's start off from the beginning. From the beginning, this was a group trip with some very special people. Love y'all all. And it was actually your girl's B-Day. And then I got to spend it with another Gemini that I love all my heart. My cousin. The one, if y'all didn't know, the one who lake house, if you watch my video about the lake house, it was her lake house. Yes, period. So that's where I was, and yeah, we were getting ready to head out to, and well, first we went to Trinidad and Tobago and hung out with their family and had a great time, y'all. We had a phenomenal time. You hear me? If y'all haven't seen that video, y'all need to go and watch that video. Don't click off of this one yet, but y'all need to go watch that video. That video was everything. It didn't seem like we were doing a lot, but like I told y'all in the video, we were in and out of people's houses and things like that, and sometimes you don't want to. There was no drama, period. When you could go on a vacation, come back, and there's no drama, you had a great vacation, okay? So, anywho, enough of that. Had a great time at all the places. I read reviews at all resorts I go to, okay? And I have learned that there's reviews when people put reviews because they're mad they didn't get something. When people put reviews when they have had the best time of their lives. So we all know this, that read reviews, right? And if you didn't, you learned something now. So I was reading the reviews for the resorts, which I do all the time. And it's because when I book somebody's travel, I want to make sure that I let them know the good as well as the bad. But I tell them, read the bad with open eyes. Because again, just like I said, people will put reviews when they don't get what they want. So needless to say, I read the reviews, and all of them said, a lot of them was talking about how the food was at one of the resorts. I'm not bothered by the reviews. So that first night was my birthday, and we ate, we danced, we had a great time. Wasn't sick at all. The second night, the day after my birthday, I was like, okay, my stomach is on 10, but it gotta be like gas or something because we've been eating Italian. Hey, but my stomach was hurting, and I was like, okay. So I took I had some Gas X, some Pepto in my room. So I took it thinking, you know, your girl gonna be good. Later that night, it got worse. So I'm like, gosh, because I didn't drink really. I was just not, you know, and I'm like, oh my God. They said the food, and it would be me. So it was progressively worse. The third night, I couldn't, I wanted to hang out, you know, with the group because it was the second group's last night there. But we had to cut it short because I just couldn't. I was just Oh, I was feeling so bad. So the next morning was their Sunday breakfast. Well, I couldn't, so I told hubby, go have breakfast, with them and, you know, everything because I can't make it. So hubby went to have breakfast with them and everything, and I felt so bad, but I just couldn't make it. So that morning, later that morning, I got to see them off, whatever, because we were switching to another resort and they were still there. So I got to see them and everything, but they were like, "Oh my gosh, you look so bad," and meaning sick wise, and I was just horrible, y'all. So when we got to the next resort, the first thing I did when I checked in my room was just pass out. Like literally, I just passed out. So I woke up, let it be that I was gonna be in the bed the whole time. No, it's not gonna happen. So I jumped up, feeling kind of not myself, but I'm still gonna go with the flow. So got up, went to dinner with the crew, and then um, went. We went to they had entertainment. I went to enjoy the entertainment because still wasn't feeling 100. So the next night at the second location, we went out the resort and everything. Still wasn't feeling 100, but 20% better than what I was feeling when I was at my first night coming to the second location. So they went about the day or whatnot. And the last night, I was still feeling really bad. But the last night, I was like, I'm gonna push through. So I pushed through pretty much the full thing. The third night we flew. The following day we flew to Miami because me and hubby always go to Miami. And when I got to Miami, I was feeling so bad. Like literally, when we was in flying back to Miami and got to our room, when we got to our suite, I was like, I should dress or whatever. And we went down and to have dinner. So I tried to put a little bit on my stomach, which was fine. We left the next morning to head back to New Orleans. And when we got back home, I couldn't eat. Like the next day, like I couldn't eat. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just sleep it off, and be better. Morning, we had to go do some errands and things. So we got up to go do our errands and everything. And when we were going to do our errands, my stomach was feeling really, really bad. Like it was like severe, like cramping bad. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I just need to, start to hydrate because I wasn't drinking, I wasn't eating. I needed to hydrate. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna just get some watermelon and some water and kind of just cleanse my body, kind of, right? My urine or whatever. And I did, and it was darkety dark, like darker than me, dark, okay? So I was like, whoa, something isn't right. But I could be dehydrated. That's what I'm thinking, right? So now get what happened, y'all. I'm just trying to tell y'all what happened. So the next day, after we did our errands or whatever, I realized I hadn't used the restroom none that day. So it was the afternoon, and we went with my mother-in-law, and she was like, are you sure you're okay? Are you sure you're okay? And I'm like, I think so, but I don't feel 100. So the next day, went to the restroom. My urine was darker. So I'm like, okay, I'm not drinking no water. So I just started chugging water, chugging water, chugging water. And as I chugged water, went to the restroom later that afternoon, it was clear. So I'm like, yes, it was water. I was dehydrated. So told hubby, so that was that afternoon, it was about 12 or 1 o'clock. So I was like, hubby, I'm back, I'm good. I didn't tell him everything to, get him the, spasms. So I actually told him after I knew the good news that it was me being dehydrated. So I was great. So we get in the car because I'm like, okay, now we can go do the rest of our errands. I'm feeling better. So he was like, okay. But I wasn't feeling better. Like I could feel myself still not 100, right? So I'm like, okay, I don't feel better, but my urine's better, so I gotta be better. So I'm in the car, and hubby's driving, and we headed to the store. And something told me just look in the mirror. So I looked in the mirror, and I looked at my eyes. My eyes were yellow, y'all. I was like, what in the world? So I looked at hubby. I said, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm tripping. So I said, hubby, what color is my eye? He was like, your eyes are yellow. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, what is wrong? And I was like, I think I gotta go to the emergency room. Yeah, I need to go to the emergency room. So he was like, okay. So we dropped everything, went to the emergency room. get me to the back ASAP. So I go in the back, and the nurse told me to go do a urine sample again. So I go do it, and this time it is darker than me, right? So I'm like, oh my God, like what is going on? So she comes back, and they take me for ultrasound and all that to see maybe if it's gallstones, gallbladder, all the things. So I go to do that, and then they will wait for the liver doctor to come talk to me because obviously something's wrong with my liver. The liver doctor comes to speak to me, and the liver doctor walks in and he says, "Have you been out the country lately?" And I said, "Yeah." And he went, So he started asking the medical question, liver problems, any of this, that. And I was like, "No, fine." And he was like, "Yeah, tell me if you had these symptoms started, your stomach was hurting." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "So bad that you couldn't eat?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "It made you feel like you was fatigued?" I said, "Yeah." He said, then your urine was dark." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Then it cleared." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Then it got dark." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Mm-hmm." He said, "At some point you felt nauseous a little." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah." Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He said, "Well, it can be 3 things." He said 4 things. He said it can be liver, something's going on with your liver. He said it can be Hep A, which is a virus. It could be Hep B or Hep C. And I was like, "Oh, Hep B or Hep C? What?" What? And he was like, yeah. He said it's a virus from eating after people and germs and things like that, right? And I was like, "Okay." He said, "But it's not like what you have is when you go out of the country and you eat raw seafood, they don't prepare like we prepare it." He said their waters are different from our waters, and yeah, you can get this virus. And what it does is it attacks your liver, and your liver, something goes really high, so your bowels, uh, like you having an attack on your liver, and then it goes back to normal. He was like, so usually it takes about 2 weeks for you to get back to normal. He said 2 to 3 weeks, depending, and you'll be back to normal. And he said, so with that, he said, I'm going to take the necessary blood work, and then I'm going to let my office see you in a week, and we're going to take your blood work again and see if it's gone. I said, okay. And a week later, I go get my blood, and I'm back to normal. And so when I go to the doctor, to go to his office, I'm like, okay, so what's next? He was like, you're back to normal. I said, what do you mean? He was like, it has to flush this way out of your system, and now you're back to normal. I was like, wow, like a let over seafood? He was like, it could have been. He said it could have been any food, but I did remember the seafood being kind of raw. But it could have been any of the food that we ate. So with all that information I gave y'all about how I got sick, what happened, hopefully y'all take heed to what happened to me, and be very careful. Not saying be scared. Me and hubby's been over 40 countries, and this is the first time it actually happened. Yes, sometimes it only takes once, but we survived it. We got through it. I just know next time if the food don't taste cooked, spit it out and send it back unless it's some legit. So I'll see y'all in my next video. Oh, in my next country. Peace.